Long distance relationships are always like talked down upon. People say, no, I would never ever do this. I don't know why. So I got to try something new. I got to talk more, even though I'm not used to talking. I got to be more emotional, even though I'm not used to that. I got to, keep my pride. I can't just close up and go to another room or whatever. If we get pissed off at each other, we need to talk this out. We need to find a way to talk, and we need to FaceTime. Dates. We need to play cards through FaceTime. Watch movies through FaceTime, however people do it.
You teach me and I'll teach you.
BETAmon.
Gotta catch 'em all.
BETAmon.
Gotta catch 'em all.
The opening question here is, knowing red-pilled truths about relationships, how would a woman feel, in your opinion? How would a woman feel about a man that is cool with getting little or no physical intimacy and sex, is communicating more often than other men, is being more emotional than other men, and is planning virtual Skype dates for her? So based on those criteria there, and based on what you know about like red-pilled truths, how would a woman feel about a man that does those things? Boom. Long-distance relationships and why they do work. Title created by Derrick Jaxn himself.
I think long-distance relationships get a bad rep.
All right, guys, just listen to the next 10 seconds and see if you can spot why I already believe that he doesn't believe himself. The next 10 seconds, listen to his voice.
Long distance relationships are always like talked down upon. People say, no, I would never ever do this. I don't know why. If you with somebody, you wouldn't go through a period of time where you couldn't see them.
All right, so I'm just going to show you again. Just focus straight on how he's talking. Cool, calm, and collected, all that. Same tone of voice. Listen when he starts talking about, I don't know why. Just listen to his voice. Just see if you notice these little underlying things. This is why I just don't believe he believes himself at all.
Are always like talked down upon. People say, no, I would never ever do this. I don't know why. If you with somebody, you wouldn't go through a period of time where you couldn't see them. Military couples do it. There are hella people that got their bae in prison and shit like that, and they do it. I don't recommend that. I think prison has some stipulations on how much you can talk to them too. But anywho, the benefits of a long distance relationship, man, they're undeniable.
All right, guys, so you guys heard that. Again, benefits of a long distance relationship are undeniable. And when somebody makes a claim like that, undeniable, I am going to expect some undeniable benefits as we go through this video. So keep that in mind too. He's kind of setting himself up for delivering here. And we'll see. Benefits are undeniable.
Because whenever you're not with somebody, you get to find out whether or not you're right for that person. You feel what I'm saying? There are a lot of people in relationships, man, and they're just conveniences to each other. They're attracted to each other. They admire each other. They care for each other, but they're not right for each other because their foundation, as far as what it should be on, is disproportionately, heavy in the physical category. Whereas in a long distance relationship, you get that totally taken away. So how long distance relationships work is, it's just like if you were to lose one of your five senses. If I was to lose my ability to see, I would have to rely on my ability to hear in order to be highly functional. It's the same thing with a relationship that, now all of a sudden you're miles and miles apart from your partner. Y'all can't see each other. You can't touch each other. You can't have sex with each other. Can't hold hands. You can't hold each other and caress each other and cuddle. Can't go out on dates together. So what do you have to do? You have to focus on the other senses of your relationship. Communication being one of them. Communication gets kind of cliche. I get it. We're running in the fucking ground when we talk about relationships, but it's as real as it gets.
Okay, so let me just simplify his first benefit for you. Let me simplify it for you. Benefit number one, guys, of a long distance relationship is no physical interactions, which means, right, this is the benefit he's given us, is that you get to focus more on communication. because you have no physical interactions. Like he gave the analogy of if you lost your sight, you're going to have to focus more on your hearing. So lucky you guys. Benefit number one for a long-term relationship is you get to, instead of focusing on the physical, you actually get to focus more on communication with her, which we know, guys, right? Communication with women is always a good thing, right? So that's benefit number one.
Right? And it goes deeper than that, because you're not going to communicate with somebody enough or effectively if that's not really your best friend. Everybody talk this best friend shit, but they're not really best friends. You're going to find out if a person is your best friend during a long distance relationship.
Wait, I don't want to go too fast for you guys because we're already on benefit number two. Benefit number two. So benefit number one, recap, no physical interaction equals you get to focus more on communication, lucky you. Benefit number two, guys, of a long distance relationship is that only best friends survive. So you get to audition for the friend zone. Only the best friends are going to survive a long distance relationship, as we're going to hear from the wise man himself here. And you, lucky you get to audition for the best friend zone.
Can't nobody force you to hit them up and talk for an hour or 2 hours a day. Can't nobody force you to hit them up every time you hear a funny joke or see a funny meme, or every time you accomplish something, or a couple of hours go by and you haven't heard from them. Can't nobody force you to do that shit. So in a long distance relationship, you're only going to get the communication. You're only going to put the effort into the communication if that person is really your best friend. So off top, you get to weed somebody out. If you're in a long distance relationship, you learn very quickly whether or not this person is really right for you, or if just two attractive people who are convenient for each other found each other.
So benefit number two was only best friends survive, right? You get to figure out if they're going to be your best friend. So which is great. You get to audition for the friend zone. Yay. Lucky us. Now, benefit number three is that you get to weed out people with bad intentions. You get to weed out people with bad intentions, which again, that's the positive spin he's going to give it to you. Now, on the other hand of this with long distance relationships is people with bad intentions could just play you this entire time and you would never know.
But because you don't have sex, because you don't have that physical touch, you have to communicate. Y'all have problems, you can't just sex it away. You have to talk. Dates, you know what I mean? You don't get to just integrate it into your everyday. Well, I'm here and you here, so we together. You have to make and plan for time with that person now. You in a long distance relationship. It's the same thing. One of your senses is out. So now you're heavily relying on the other senses of the relationship in order to make things work. Can definitely work.
I just listen to these next couple seconds, guys. Remember, listen to his voice inflection. That tells so much about somebody, about their true intentions. Just like we heard at the very beginning when he said long distance relationships, they can work. I don't see why people have a problem with them. That's an incongruency with what he's speaking at. When you hear that discrepancy in his voice, so listen for it again right here when he is trying to trick himself and his audience into believing, oh yeah, this of course will work.
Your senses is out. So now you're heavily relying on the other senses of the relationship in order to make things work. Can definitely work. And I think it's like, again, it's going to...
That's I don't believe him one bit there. What a liar. I just don't believe him. He doesn't believe himself with that. Another voice inflection tell right there. I just don't believe him, and I don't think he himself believes what he's saying. I think he just got a bunch of questions about this, and he was like, oh, I guess I should make a video on this. But I don't believe that he believes what he's saying.
Out who's not for you, and it's going to test not only your communication, but your discipline. Anybody that's been in a long...
Okay, sorry, this is benefit 4, guys. Benefit 4 is that a long-distance relationship, it completely tests your willpower if you remain faithful. So he's spinning this as a benefit. The benefit of a long-distance relationship is it tests your willpower. Even when you're not going to want to stay faithful, it really tests your willpower. Which again, okay, I could see how that's a benefit, but... you also got to think of on the flip side, if you remain faithful, are you playing by the same rules is the other person. Yeah, sure, that's a benefit, except for if the other person doesn't have the same ideas of the long distance relationship as you do, which a lot of times men and women have different thoughts about things.
This relationship can attest to this. It feels like you're fucking celibate. If you're faithful in a long distance relationship, after a while, it starts feeling like you're celibate. And that's very difficult if you guys were sexually active before. But it tests your willpower. It tests your discipline. It lets you know that you in this for real. If you just will not violate, even though you're not getting from your partner what you're used to getting. Because let's be real, even though we may miss cuddling with our partner, we want that from our partner. We like the cuddling part too. We like a warm body there to hold us. We like having sex with somebody that we feel attracted to. We like those things. And just to be honest, somebody else could provide that. They wouldn't be your partner, but they could give you some kind of substitute. So if you're in a long distance relationship, one, you have the ability to get away with shit that you wouldn't be able to get away with if that person, if your boyfriend or girlfriend was right there. And you still have to say no. You still have to walk away from temptation. You still have to go home horny. You still have to stay in that bed lonely and not go out to the club and not accept dates and not take down numbers to meet up with somebody for that physical companionship that you were used to or that you're missing.
So that right there, everything he just brought up about the willpower and all that thing, that testing that, I think that right there is a big friction point for a lot of us, especially when we know the modern mindset of like sleep around, blah, 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 have fun, empowerment. So yeah, do you trust that she's going to play by those same rules you just said? Do you trust that she's going to be able to resist all those things that you just mentioned? I have many experiences in my own life of women that have had long-term boyfriends and also of friends of mine that I can give you a pretty truthful look on, that a lot of times the women definitely don't have the same ideas in mind as the men do that are committing to these things.
So it tests your discipline. It develops your communication. It'll help weed somebody out who ain't really right for you, or if you're just not right for them or y'all not right for each other, that's not really your best friend. But can long distance relationships work? Absolutely. For a man like me, like I said, I have a high sex drive. I love the touch. I love that. That's my love language or whatever it is. It's going to force some people to get out of their comfort zone, to really grow outside themselves and to try something new in order to keep first things first.
Okay, so he's saying, hey, sometimes it's gonna push men to try something new that they're not used to. Try something new. So I'm gonna bring this up one more time. All right, we got the Prince quiz here. Prince quiz, guys. Here's the quiz. Knowing red pill truths about relationships. How would a woman feel about a man that is cool with getting little or no physical intimacy and sex, is communicating more often than other men, is being more emotional than other men, and is planning virtual Skype dates for her? Taking that right there, all right, that's the quiz of kind of thinking, oh, how would a woman feel about a man that does that? Because...
So you find out if that man really wants a relationship with you. And if he does, he's going to say the end result is what I'm after. Me currently as I am, I'm not good for this situation. So I got to try something new. I got to talk more even though I'm not used to talking. I got to be more emotional even though I'm not used to that. I got to, keep my pride. I can't just close up and go to another room or whatever. If we get pissed off at each other. We need to talk this out. We need to find a way to talk, and we need to FaceTime. Dates. We need to play cards through FaceTime. Watch movies through FaceTime, however people do it. So, two people may have to step outside of their comfort zone. Two people are going to be missing the hell out of each other. We're going to have their willpower and their discipline tested. And their communication is going to have to take another form as opposed to face-to-face. But for couples who are right for each other, long-distance relationships actually, the phase of it anyway, actually helps you come out stronger if you do the right thing within it.
All right, guys, remember, if you do the right thing inside the long-distance relationship, then that roadblock will actually make you grow stronger. How many guys have fallen for this one about the long distance? If you do the right thing, right? If you lose your eyesight, now you have to focus more on your hearing. That's going to improve your overall abilities. So if you are able to survive the relationship, the long distance relationship, by doing the right things, which the right things are surviving with no physical intimacy, no sex, communicating more often. Remember, these are his opinion, the things you're gonna have to do. If you're more emotional than other men would be, you're gonna have to step out of your comfort zone, be more emotional, and you're gonna have to plan virtual Skype dates, like playing cards with her, watching The Notebook on, and streaming it together on Skype, and you guys can watch your chick flicks and all that stuff. So if you do all of those things, the right things to do, then you'll grow stronger. Your relationship will come out stronger if you do that. That is Derrick Jaxn's advice.
You don't do the right thing, of course, it's going to break you. If your foundation is best friendship, you're not going to have a problem coming out stronger. It's not going to be fun. Long distance relationships ain't fun. I don't care what nobody tell you. But they can definitely be beneficial if you do the right thing during them. Now, I don't recommend starting off long distance, but if you're already in love with somebody, you're already with them, you're already building with them, and they have to go away for a while, long distance relationship shouldn't be the reason why you break things off with them. It's time to shift gears. We're going to have to rely on some other things.
All right, now guys, this part I want to give you guys an extra specific warning to listen for. I have on my sheet here, listen men in all caps with 3 exclamation points to about what he's about to say. This is going to lead in perfectly with how long distance relationships train you to be the perfect little husband. All right, just listen, guys. We gotta accept this part. Married men that have already been through this, they already know what's about to probably come. But a lot of us other guys that haven't been a part of that don't really know. Well, he's going to drop some little truth bombs in here if we can dissect it in the right way.
But as a man, if you plan on being with somebody for the rest of your life, y'all plan on starting a family, it's going to be times where it's going to feel like long distance anyway. Like when your girl get pregnant, when your wife get pregnant, you can't have sex with her like that very last month and like the 2 months after birth. You're not going to be able to have sex with her. Her body is off limits. It's trying to recover. So it's going to feel just like it did in the long distance relationship. But if you was in that situation before, then you already know you can handle it.
There it is, guys. Here is the 5th and final rock solid benefit. Benefit number 5, guys. If you can practice no sex now, it's going to prepare you for no sex in your marriage. If you can practice having no sex now, it is going to get you ready for when you get no sex in your marriage. Let me just put this back one last time for you.
But as a man, if you plan on being with somebody for the rest of your life, y'all plan on starting a family, it's going to be times where it's going to feel like long distance anyway. Like when your girl get pregnant, when your wife get pregnant, you can't have sex with her like that very last month and like the 2 months after birth. You're not going to be able to have sex with her. Her body is off limits. It's trying to recover. So it's going to feel just like it did in the long distance relationship. But if you was in that situation before, then you already know you can handle it. So yeah, it's going to be times when you don't want to talk to them or you don't get to see them. They got to go away for a week or 2 to see their family. Now you got to communicate with them in different ways, the same way you did in your long distance relationship. It's going to be times where you out, right? And you might be just out of town for a night or 2. And you got the opportunity to have sex with somebody or kick it with somebody or whatever. But you already know you can walk away from that because during the long distance relationship, you had opportunities to get away with stuff. Even though you was horny or whatever, you had opportunities to get away with it and you said no. So long distance relationships are going to show you a lot about who you are and whether or not you're right for the person that you're with.
Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, share the video, but definitely subscribe.